All right, folks, we are back with a ring exclusive from the W.A.D.E concept. Vergil Ortiz absolutely destroys, erases, completely demolishes Erickson Lubin in the second round. TKO, absolute obliteration, and it was a lot of what I expected it to be, a little bit of what I didn't, and it answered the question we all wanted to know. Are we going to get Vergil Ortiz versus Jaron Ennis next? The answer is an emphatic absolutely yes. What do I mean? What just happened? The breakdown. Let's go.
He is the star of W.A.D.E concept.
All right, so Vergil Ortiz versus Erickson Lubin for the interim WBC 154-pound championship of the world. Coming into the fight, this is really a question of how does Vergil Ortiz win this, at least to me. I didn't see Erickson Lubin as a guy that was going to be able to stop Vergil Ortiz at this point, stop in kind of a double entendre, stop his momentum going forward, 24-0, or at that time 23-0 with 20 knockouts. Just a talented prospect, a guy that regardless of belts at 154 pounds, him and Boots are two of the biggest names to watch and two of the most dangerous guys in the lower weight classes. And Erickson Lubin, you know, a historied fighter, a guy from Kissimmee, Orlando, Florida. I mean, I've been down there. I've seen the fighters that they produce in that Orlando area. And listen, Luben is a fantastic fighter. Was nicknamed the Hammer for a reason, had some power in his hands. But I think after the knockout from Charlo in the first round of their fight, and I think after being knocked down and eventually stopped by Sebastian Fundora in their fight in a back and forth, I just think at that point he had lost a lot of what made him him. Good technical boxer, a guy that's a boxer puncher that gets dangerous later in the rounds, but I didn't see him being too much of a problem. I thought we would see some rounds from Vergil Ortiz. I thought we'd see a bit more of a patient, I wouldn't say tactical, but a bit more patient, and then let the dog out, Vergil Ortiz, later in the rounds. Again, coming off two decisions versus, I think, two high-level fighters like Sergey Boachuk and Madrimov, who looked great, or at least made Terrence Crawford look not as great. So Vergil doing what he had to do to get those fights done, but then he comes back and performs like he needed to, I think, to push the envelope for this Jaron Ennis and Vergil Ortiz fight. Let's talk about Ortiz versus Lubin first. I mean, first round, you already started to see, even when Ortiz wasn't landing the most devastating of punches, anytime he landed anything, it looked like Lubin was almost in no man's land. Right hands, left hands. What I really liked from Ortiz, it's something he always does, is constant pressure. It's forward fighting. He brings the fight. But I loved his manipulation of the pressure. It wasn't just put my forehead in your chest and that's what it's going to be. It was some of that, and in the second round, it was more of that. It was cutting off the ring. It was tightening space. It was taking up a ton of space while also being in front of Luben. It was making Luben feel like he was trapped and pushing him against the ropes. The one place you really don't want to be versus Vergil Ortiz. And I know Luben had gotten away with it in earlier fights in his career. You can't do that with a guy that kind of pace, that kind of power, and that kind of killer instinct. So even at the end of the first round, I don't know if it was I think it was a right hand that Ortiz landed at the end of the first round, and I was watching, and I remember in my head, I don't think the commentators really had reacted to it, but I remember in my head going, that's a big punch. That's a punch that Luben felt, even if it, the bell went there, and I think the Latin Snake, Sergio Mora, might have caught it as well, but I remember thinking that was a significant punch. That hurt Erickson Lubin on top of a couple other punches that felt hurt him. This second round's going to go really, really badly, really quickly. And sure enough, I think the Ortiz corner, as much as they were preaching calm and patience, I think they knew that Luben was going to be out on his feet if you really stepped on the gas pedal. And that's exactly what they did. I mean, Ortiz in that second round came out, did put his forehead right in Luben's chest. And again, I was really a big fan of just how, one, he showed killer instinct, just immediately swarmed what was already a compromised fighter. Even coming into this fight, I mean, again, we talked about the losses to Fundora and to Charlo. The chin looked like it had been compromised from Erickson Lubin, which is, it's unfortunate because without that, I thought he was a high-level fighter. But when your chin goes, it goes, and it's different for every fighter. And he had a good career. I mean, damn, the guy was 27-2 up into this point, so fair play to him. But in that second round, you saw Ortiz, again, change his level, get his head right in the chest of Luben, start working to the body. And then I loved the guard manipulation in the second round, because regardless of the weight, especially as you move higher in weight, I am of the opinion that just standing with a high guard as your defense, especially when you're squared up back against the ropes, that's almost asking to be hurt at this point, because fighters are so good at manipulating your guard that just answering the phone, being there with your high guard. When a guy reaches out and peels that hand down and with the other hand comes right behind it to the temple, you realize how ineffective that defense is. When guys are good at manipulating your guard, and from here, who are you punching? From your high guard, right? You're squared on the ropes. Who are you punching from there with any kind of impact? Instead of turning your body, having hands more here, catch or frame, I'm not a big fan of the high guard against the ropes. And I think it, tonight especially, did Erickson Lubin in. It was, I don't know if it was strategy or whatever else, maybe trying to wait out the danger of the first couple of rounds from Virgil Ortiz, but having that high guard squared up back on the ropes was just food sitting in front of Ortiz, who was hungry because of the potential of the Jaron Boots Ennis fight, because all of us have an appetite for American boxing to finally have a major fight, and we'll get to it in a second, but it was all just a recipe for disaster. And so when Virgil Ortiz with his left hand peeled down the left hand of Erickson Lubin, bang, fired the right hand over. This was like some Lomachenko, Triple G style kind of corkscrew right hand, and it shocked Erickson Lubin. It was out on his feet immediately. Right hand touched him, he was out. Then Ortiz barely missed with a follow-up switch, left hook, just missed him, whizzed by him, but then he followed up with more right hands, and like I said, Lubin was done. Shouts to the referee who jumped in, because that was going to be, the way he was out on his feet, like his feet were under him to where his, unconscious body could still somewhat maintain posture and position. But if you let that go, I don't even mean this to sound hyperbolic or dramatic. I could have seen a Ray Mercer, Tommy Morrison style knockout had the referee not stepped in right there, because he had decent enough, his back was against the ropes, his feet were somewhat planted. Ortiz could have landed 3 or 4 more nasty ones had he kept going. Luckily, the referee didn't allow that. So yeah, this is what you wanted to see from Virgil Ortiz. He checked off every box. He had focus in a fight that could have become a dangerous fight or a trap fight right before the big money fight, right before the big fight everybody wants to see, which usually is what prevents boxing fans from getting the big money fights. Think Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero. Rolly Romero not listening to the noise, not worried about what Ryan and Devin Haney might have coming next. No, he goes and takes care of business, spoils the party. Same with Anthony Joshua, Andy Ruiz. We had rumors of Anthony Joshua potentially Tyson Fury after the Ruiz fights, and that fight had been trying to get set up for years, and all of a sudden Anthony Joshua gets clipped by Andy Ruiz and changes everybody's career trajectory. So you have to focus in on the fight in front of you. I saw that from Virgil. I saw, again, that mean streak. I saw his pace. I saw his pressure. I saw his finishing ability. And I saw him box well. Didn't get hit with anything. Again, not a lot of time to get hit, but I saw him take care of business and give fans a reason to be excited about one of the best fights, no joke, in boxing, period. I don't mean at 154. I don't mean in America. I mean this might be the best fight in boxing. Jaron Boots Ennis steps into the ring, got the chains on. There was rumors he might not make it to Dallas because of the government being shut down and flights not getting there. Psych. Him and Eddie are on site. He walks up in the ring. Him and Virgil Ortiz have a stare down, talking about, you were talking trash. Boots told Virgil that his whole team was going to pay for talking that trash and saying they didn't want the fight. Virgil's like, all right, we'll see. Let's make the fight. This has to be the next fight. I don't give a single flying fuck if it is for a world title or not. These are two of the best at 154. Point blank, period. I think they might be two of the best in boxing at all. These might be two of the best, regardless of weight class. Yes, you have Terrence Crawford there. Yes, you have David Benavidez. We'll see what happens with Anthony Yard. Yes, you have Inoue. You have Usyk. I get it. But these two are dangerous, and they're in their prime, and they're at the same weight class, and this is what boxing needs more of. We don't need this 5 to 6 to 10 years from now. We need it right now. They both are saying to each other, it's my money, and I need it now. Because this is right here is blockbuster boxing, ladies and gentlemen. This right here is what will bring new eyes to the sport. And it's a damn good fight. I'm not even going to try to do early predictions right now for how this thing would go down. I just need it to happen. Chris Mannix was on commentary saying that this is 100%, his words, not mine, 100% the next fight for both guys. Think maybe March, April of next year. And I know we've heard that before as fans, that fights are 100% done, signed, sealed, delivered, and it doesn't happen. But this time I do think it's going to happen. And what a fight it would be. I'm going to try to just look at the stare down really quickly. I know that, we're not supposed to use DAZN footage, but DAZN, you work with us here at the channel. Let me use some of this footage. Here's the stare down between the two of them. Yup. There it is, man. There it is.
It's that time. It's that time. Yep, it's a perfect time, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's a perfect time.
I'm ready.
We're going to get everybody what they're looking for, too.
Oh, yeah,
Straight like
for sure.
that.
Yep.
Let's get that money.
That's right.
Yep.
Let's go, baby.
I like it. I like it. And it is that time. It's the perfect time to make this happen. Both fighters have a unique and interesting style. Obviously, Vergil Ortiz, more forward, more aggressive, more front foot boxing. Jaron Ennis, we know, is a great counterpuncher off his back foot, but also can bring it to your front door. He'll fight out of both stances. His defense to offense transition is beautiful. He'll catch counter with you. I don't know where this fight could go because you could argue that Boots' style gives Vergil problems or could give Vergil problems. Even though we haven't seen Vergil in a ton of problems, you could argue that Vergil's style will give Boots problems. Give it to me. I need that. And I think I speak for the boxing world when I say this is, if not the, one of the best fights you can make in the sport, period. But I want to know your thoughts. You guys let me know down below. What did you think Virgil Ortiz looked like in this fight versus Erickson Lubin? Again, Luben maybe doesn't have the chin that he once did after the couple fights and then the knockouts or stoppages from Charlo and Fundora, but still a high-level guy that Virgil Ortiz walked through. I mean, absolutely demolished. Just after Boots Ennis demolishes Usima Lima. So both guys put a check mark by the tests, A+, circle it from the teacher. Now you move to final exams. Is this fight going to happen next? It damn well better. And who do you favor? Who has the advantage? Who's going to get it done between Virgil Ortiz and Jaron Boots Ennis? Don't have those answers, but I cannot wait to find out.